Get the Retro Game Hippie here. Should say now toy guy. It's been a long time since I've done anything, so I thought I'd throw something together. Not a lot's changed. You can see the hippie still lives in the tent. Been about, what, 4 years now, roughly. I think maybe in April, I think I might go back to whatever. But anyhow, life's been kind of good in the toy front. A lot to catch up on there that I don't have time for, but we're just going to go over yesterday. First, we hit some thrift stores down the south end of our island, and it turned out to be a video game kind of day. Got a bunch of these manuals. This was what we used before the internet, or those of us that don't use the internet. Lots of pretty good little photos, maps, guidelines, Zeldas, Mario Advance, Super Mario Sunshine. It's a little out of this hippie's realm. I have had them in the past to sell or trade. You know, we all sell and we all trade games. Just not my thing. GameCube's a good system though, but $3 a pop, I'm pretty sure I can make something out of those that I like, which we'll get to in a minute. I'll show you some of those. Can't have enough of these. Battlefront 2 Star Wars. I think I have at least 2 copies of this, probably, that I'll always keep in case one takes a bed. Good trade bait. Building up my wrestling collection. Of course, anybody that knows me knows I love wrestling, and we're going to get to that. But collecting all the wrestling games pretty much from Nintendo to PlayStation 2 across the board for the most part. And if I remember right, this is a really good game. I did play this back when it came out. Kind of like a role-playing mode. Fishing out my Resident Evil 2 collection, or Resident Evil collection for that matter. Same thing with the wrestling, except for I'm just going PlayStation across the board on that to Xbox and GameCube. Pretty sure other than limited or weird game controllers or things like that that I don't collect, just games, this should complete me, which is the Outbreak file number 2. And I went and picked up this one as well. And pretty close with another one, except for the Jaguar, which I haven't played. But I'm completing up my the Aliens and Predator. This looks really fun. I've never played it. This is a real-time strategy game, which I like that kind of game style, real-time strategies. They usually don't translate very good on any systems I play, except for my phone. So I'm excited to see what it's like. Predator is a really good game on Xbox and PlayStation 2. I think it's just called Predator. And I've heard the Predator vs. Aliens is a really good Jaguar game. But that may not be saying a lot. But I've never played a Jaguar. Couple funky controllers for your 64. I've never had these before. I think I've had something similar, and I'm actually kind of excited to check it out. This thing actually is like a wheel, and it's got a pad on it. So, you know, it's kind of nice for your thumb. Something kind of different. There's actually a couple of those. GameCube power supply. Can never really have too many of those. And yeah, I didn't really know what this was for because I'm not really that informative on Nintendo. You know, my knowledge base would go more to Atari or ColecoVision. I'm more of that kind of a gamer. And then PlayStation, kind of skip Nintendo. Anyhow, it's N64 VRU. That was just kind of interesting because I hadn't seen it, didn't have it. I didn't think it'd be rare or expensive or anything. But then when I looked at it, it turned out it goes to Hey You, Pikachu, and one other game and a microphone. So just something neat to have. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably saying the same thing at this point I was too. These all came from the same thrift store. Like GameCube manuals, you know, GameCube power supply, 64. I wasn't seeing games. And, you know, it usually means one of two things. Somebody wouldn't have left this and taken the games. So it's either stuff back somewhere else or I missed it. You know, who misses that? So I went back and scoured again. Like, am I missing something here, you know? No. The only thing I did miss, and I did go back and get, was something I would rather have. Cobra Commander. I didn't even look to see if he was vintage. I'm pretty sure he is being hooded, but I like the silver one better. But my friend on the south end has a really cool one where he sits in front of a desk like a dictator. which I think was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. So yeah, $5. I'm like, yeah, did you have more of these? This is where I really shifted my collecting to. So, but he's in good shape. Put him on the dash of my car. Now we should get to what I really collect. Yeah, here they are. Which is toys. And this was an offer-up thing in my state. And I won't say their name or anything other than to say is usually hear people being very untrustworthy in deals and whatnot, and never use PayPal, friends and family, of course, unless they're your friends or family. That's what it's called. Or a lot of direct payments. You know, PayPal I've had forever, and I've never had issues with PayPal. I'm sure people will say otherwise, but anyhow, this guy and I had negotiated about these figures, and he gave me a price and shipping, and yeah, I was comfortable with it. Cool, yeah. A lot more were going to be upgrades, I'm sure, from one of the ones I have, but he went ahead and shipped it before I even paid him or anything. I didn't know he was going to do that. You know, he gave me the price and everything, and then right away he put up a tracking number, and I was like, whoa, dude, you shipped it already? I haven't paid you yet. It was cool, you know. I mean, you totally trust me, I will. And of course I paid him as soon as, you know, got the PayPal stuff. I just said, hey man, I'm great that there's people that trust that much. You know, I could have backed out of the deal, I guess, but I mean, at that point, who's going to do that anyway? It still was a good deal. But you know, be careful, because there's people out there that would probably try to take advantage of that. But maybe he just knew that I wasn't one of them. You know, he was an old school wrestling fan, so was I. And he's right, I'm not a nice guy, I'll tell you that. I have my moments, and you know, there have been points of that, but it's usually pretty objective, you know. But let's take a look at them. You should be familiar with them. I know I've done a video about them before because I picked them up, but they're the old LJA and WWF guys. And it was just a large lot of common, cool but common. Like I think 18 altogether. They were in a little bit rougher shape than what I saw in the picture, but it didn't really matter. I'm a player anyway. Just tells you how bad a shape the ones a lot of them I have are in. These all have their digits. If you want to know who any of them are, you can just ask in the comments if anybody actually watches it. This one is Coco Beware, is probably the rarest one of the lot, I'm guessing. I'm not an expert on this stuff yet, not like video games. Hippie's favorite. This is a lot newer. I don't know, I don't want to read the foot, but I can just tell the Big Show is definitely one newer and mold. This is probably 90s, mid to late 90s, where the other ones are all early 80s. Maybe Coco's 85, 86, if you want to call that mid 80s. But a lot of these were the first line, which is what I had when I was a kid. About 5. I'm gonna say the last of this lot for the only one I don't have, I think. I have to go double check. I don't have one version, but they gave 2 versions of SD Jones. I don't think I have the yellow one, nor do I ever remember him wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Maybe once or twice at a house show. The main reason why I reached out was the smaller lot the guy had, which I don't have but 1 or 2 of them. They're the same LJN, but what they did is they made smaller versions that they called thumb wrestlers. If you don't know what thumb wrestlers are, when we were kids, it's so hard to do with your own hand, you can't, but you would thumb wrestle. But imagine if my thumbs were facing each other. You were trying to pin each other. And there were lots of different gadgets, but this was just one of them. The kids could stick on their thumb now, and now they're thumb wrestling. And I work with kids, so I know I'd probably use this at some point with the kids I work with. So that was my pickups the last week or so. Obviously, the wrestlers were all from OfferUp, so it really wasn't a pickup other than just kind of a find that came in right around the same time. And it was a video game day at the thrift stores, which have been few and far between finding things, with everything that's been going on. I see a lot of people lining up to donate, but some of the thrift stores have just been, well, one of them shut down where I'm at, so that doesn't help either. So anyhow, been a while, man. If you guys like this video, just let me know down below, and start doing some reviews or something like that, or I could start doing maybe thing in my storage unit, because there's been a lot of stuff I picked up that's just made its way to my storage unit, and some stuff I've sold and some stuff I've traded and things like that. But the storage unit tour is always nice. Anyway, you guys take care out there. Remember, we don't buy nostalgia, we are nostalgia.